Hello everyone and welcome to my post-skirmish review of the King Arms P90 Ultra Grade. So I've actually had this gun for about 2 years now, so to start with I'll go over the features and externals, what I know of the gun, and then I shall discuss what I've found to be the pros and cons of them when using them. To start with, it's made from mostly ABS plastic. It's all the body here. Sort of pistol grip. The rails and the whole front section is made from, I believe it's zinc alloy, and all the internals, as far as I'm aware, are made of metal. Gearbox is located in the back portion here, also the battery compartment, and it has a quick change spring, which is quite handy. It has 3 rails, one on the top and one on each side, for mounting whatever you could think of to add to it, tack lights, optics, anything you want. It has a moving cocking handle, but that doesn't actually open anything, but it's nice to have anyway. It does have it has 3 iron sights, one that runs through a little hole in the back of the rail. It's quite hard to use when you've got a mask on or anything like that, but it's nice to have anyway. And it has the front bit of the iron sight, the end of the rail there. It also has 2 on the side, one on each side, just in case you need to use one of them. It has very nice FN Herstal trademarks, one on each side towards the back. It also has FN Herstal Belgium on here, and on the front part here it has a serial number. I'm not sure whether that's unique or not, but nice to have anyway. It does have a part to adjust the iron sight for windage sort of thing. Never had to use that though. It's airsoft, you're just not close enough, you're just not far enough away to use it. Has a sling loop at the back where you'd put a strap right around the gun, and then you would attach the sling to it there. Not that I've ever managed to come around to getting one of them yet, but it's light, so you don't really need to worry about slings much. It has safe, semi and auto firing modes, which are adjusted by little dial on the bottom here. You just twist that round for semi and full auto, and back again. It has a hop up in this little window underneath here. It's one of the, as I understand it, it's one of the better types where it's actually a wheel around the hop rather than the one on the side. Don't know what difference that actually makes, but I've heard good things about them, so that's quite good to have. Plenty of screws holding it together, which are probably the same material as the upper portion. Never had any of them come loose or anything like that, so that's spot on. Battery, it's a little button at the bottom, at the back. Push it in, push the buttstock down and off, and then you've got a Tamiya connector and the battery compartment in the top there. It's quite a small compartment, but I managed to find some 7.4 volt LIBOs, 2200 milliamp, 35C, which work really well, and they fit in almost perfectly into that. These batteries are about 105 millimeters long, 35 millimeters wide, and about 18 millimeters deep, and they fitted perfectly. You probably wouldn't get a bigger battery than this into the gun. You probably won't need one because they last forever. In total, the battery compartment is about 120 millimeters long, as well 38 millimeters wide, and about 20 millimeters deep. So, you know, quite a small compartment. It also, in the back, has a quick change spring, which I mentioned earlier. There's a little screw in there. Take that out, and then you have access to the spring guide. Just get the flathead screwdriver, push it in, twist it about 90 degrees, it comes out, and you can change the spring and pop a new one in, which is really good, especially if you go into different sites that have different FPS limits. You can just change the spring on the fly to suit the site. The barrel length, for all it's a very short gun, it's only 505 millimeters long for the entire gun. The barrel length is actually 255 millimeters because it starts here and runs the whole way along. It comes with a 300 round high capacity magazine, which is spring wound on the bottom, which I'll get to later, and that just feeds in the top, and whack it up, push it down to click it into place. I'll not do that because I don't want BBs flying all over the house when I take it out. Oh. So there's the good stock back on. So that's a quick review. Obviously there's more detailed ones all over the place if you need better, well, people who know more about what they're talking about the gun itself, but now I will go over the pros and cons I found of actually using this gun out in the field. Right, so we'll start with the cons of using it, and the biggest one of those will possibly be the mag. I have had a few feeding issues with this, but overall it's been very good. I've heard a lot of bad things about these P90 high caps, and I don't think that this one hasn't performed as badly as what a lot of people said it would. The biggest problem is the fact that the spring, the winder for the spring is on the bottom of the mag, so you cannot access it while the mag is in the gun. Which can obviously cause issues. If you're in a long drawn out firefight, you may need to take it out of the gun to wind it, which I have had happen once, and it resulted in me getting hit and having to go back to the spawn, but that's only happened once. Generally I'm not very trigger happy, so I don't really have to wind it while playing. I may have to wind it once, I've found, during the entire 300 rounds. Which isn't too bad. Generally speaking, you can do that while, well, I'm not that good a player, so I tend to wind it while I'm walking back to and from the spawn all the time. That happens quite a bit, but each to their own. I have had one issue where the BBs have got caught in the winding system and have jammed it up, and did have to take the magazine apart to solve that. I believe you take the screw out the end of here. That's not a screw, hang on. Okay, you can just, I believe, move this cap off the end of the gun, off the end of the mag. And you can, because I didn't actually do it, I got someone else to do it for me, thankfully. And it does come apart from this top bit here and opens up. And you've got two little notches in this side that hold it in place, so don't try and remove it this way. It does open from the other side, but that was fixable, and I haven't had any major issues since then. It's just something to watch out for, but overall I find that's, it does the job. Definitely does the job. for the gun itself, it is a very small gun, but it does have decent accuracy. It is absolutely amazing for CQB. As you're going round corners, if it's in your shoulder, you can go around corners with it raised. The amount of times I have outgunned people because they have had to come round corner raising their gun and I've already been aiming at them and being able to take them out. Another perk which I found really good was it is top loading. That means there's no magazine sticking out the bottom and you can lie completely flat on the ground. I did have one instance where I was guarding entrance for a building and I took good half dozen people out or so as they were coming in because they came in shooting for crouch height or standing height. They weren't expecting me lying completely flat. The gun was flat on the floor. Possibly a bit cruel to take them out at the ankles, but hey, you know, all's fair in love and war. I have had an amazing amount of fun with this weapon. As I said earlier, I've had it about 2 years. I've had one issue with the gun itself, and that's I believe it was the trigger contact in the gearbox. It's a thin sliver of metal which actually burnt through and stopped me being able to fire. But that's only happened once in the 2 years I've had this. So there's been no issues with gears, nothing like that. It's had plenty of rounds through it, and there's no upgrades at all. It's completely stock. It is good to go straight out the box. One other thing need to mention is when you're in a CQB environment, especially if you're going to shoot out of a window, make sure you're aware that there is a large gap between the iron sight and the barrel. I have had a number of occasions, especially with me being a bit shorter, where I've went to aim out the window, I've raised the iron sight above the window ledge, but haven't raised the barrel high enough, so it has ricocheted and hit myself and teammates, which does cause a bit of a problem. So just remember that is a good 2 or 3 inches between the iron sight and the barrel. Even more if you're adding optics on top of it, which is why I chose not to. I did get a red dot, but that just added that bit more height to it and I really didn't need it. That said, the iron sight being so high is really good when you have a mask on. So I wear a full, like a half face mesh mask and have no issues at all looking down the... I tend to use the top of the rail rather than the iron sight with it being such a small iron sight, but I have no issues aiming whatsoever. It shoots very well, it's got a decent range, hop-up's pretty good. So yeah, I believe that is everything. So there we have it. Hopefully it's helped with some of the issues, pros and cons. And I shall see you all next time.